Let me start with something uncomfortable. Most people talk about leadership, have never actually led when things were falling apart. They have led when budgets were approved, when teams were cooperative, when systems were already in place. But leadership is not tested in comfort. It's tested when people resist you, when teams are tired, when results are not coming, when everyone looks at you and silently asks, now what? I have spent decades across hospitality and education, two industries where leadership is talked about endlessly and practiced very unevenly. And here is what I have learned the hard way. Most leadership doesn't fail because people are bad. It fails because people are unprepared for reality. Today, I want to talk about why leadership advice fails, where leaders actually break down, and what leadership really looks like when it's done right. Not theory, experience. Why leadership advice doesn't work. Here is the thing leadership content today is everywhere books, podcast, reels, quotes, but most of it assumes a fantasy world. A world where people listen, systems work, and effort is rewarded immediately. Real life doesn't look like that. In real organizations, teachers feel unheard, staff feels overworked, managers feel trapped, and leaders feel lonely. And yet we keep selling the same advice: be inspiring, be empathetic, be communicative, motivate your team. None of that is wrong, it's just incomplete. Leadership advice usually skips the hardest parts. What do you do when people don't trust you yet? How do you lead when you inherited a broken system? How do you make decisions when every option upsets someone? That's where leaders are made or broken. What leadership actually is, let's understand. Let's simplify this. Leadership is not a position, not a designation, not authority. Leadership is decision in asking under pressure while being watched by people who are affected by your choices. That's it. Everyday leadership shows up as what you tolerate, what you ignore, what you correct, what you delay. In hotels, I have seen beautiful properties fail because leadership avoided tough conversations. In schools, I have seen dedicated teachers burn out because leadership chose silence over clarity. Leadership is not about being liked, it's about being trusted. And trust is built when people see. They see consistency, fairness, courage, not speeches. The first fault line avoiding is conflict. This is where most leaders fail first. They avoid conflict, they delay feedback, they often soften the hard truths. They hope problems will resolve themselves. In teams, unresolved issues become gossip, passive resistance, quiet disengagement. Leaders tell themselves, I don't want to demotivate people. But what really demotivates people is unclear expectations and unspoken resentment. Strong leaders learn this early. Short term discomfort prevents long term damages. Hard conversations done with respect build more trust and fake harmony. The second fault line is systems without people. Another common mistake what leaders do, they fall in love with systems and forget the humans inside them. I have seen organizations invest in new software, new policies, but ignore morale, clarity, and ownership. Systems don't lead people, people lead people. A system only works when roles are clear, accountability is fair, feedback flows from both ways. Otherwise, systems become excuses. That's the policy, that's the process, that's how it's always been. Leadership means knowing when to follow the system and when to fix it. The third fault line is short term results over culture. This one is subtle and dangerous. Many leaders chase immediate outcomes, numbers, ratings, occupancy, results, and ignore culture. Culture is invisible until it collapses. You will see high attrition, low initiative, zero ownership. People do exactly what's asked, nothing more. That's not a lazy system, that's a discouraged one. Strong leaders invest in culture. Even when results are slow, appreciation is absent, pressure is high because culture compounds. What good leadership looks like daily. Let me make this very practical. Good leadership looks like clear expectations, repeated often, fair consequences consistently applied, listening without surrendering direction, admitting mistakes early, protecting your team from unnecessary chaos. It's not dramatic, it's disciplined. And yes, it's thin. Leadership is emotional labor. You absorb anxiety so others can function. That's why leadership without self awareness becomes toxic. Now, a simple roadmap for better leadership. If you want to become a better leader, start here. Ask yourself regularly, what problem am I avoiding? What clarity am I delaying? What behavior am I allowing? Build three habits: weekly reflection, honest feedback, loops, clear non negotiables. Leadership improves when thinking improves. And let me leave you with this leadership, that it is not about control, it's about responsibility. Not everyone is meant to lead, but those who do must be willing to grow. If this video helped you think differently, not feel motivated but feel clear, then it did its job. Subscribe if you want conversations like this, without filters, without drama, without hype, without, because real leadership is quite demanding and deeply human.